What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. I'm Tony, and today we are going to talk about the great debate. What is more comfortable, Rolex Oyster bracelet or the Jubilee bracelet? So, you know, you find that some people say, no, it's the Oyster, and no, it's the Jubilee, you know, and if you don't have the Jubilee, then you're shit, you suck, you know. So let's roll the intro and we'll get into it.
Talking timepieces with Tony. Talking timepieces with Tony.
Okay, so I was going to do a video on this anyway, but this I want to give props to the question I got from Charles M. Metcalf 3731. He's Tony, you and I have similar tastes in watches. Can you do a comparison between your OP36 and your Datejust 36 and the bracelets? The Oyster on the 36 feels like butter. I don't know how it compares to the Jubilee. Thanks, man. Enjoy the timepiece. All right, man. So here's your video. So as you can see, I have 4 Rolex here, 3 of which are on Jubilee bracelets. Does that make it so that I like the Jubilee better and it's more comfortable? Not necessarily. So let's start. Basically, there's so many factors to whether or not a bracelet is going to be comfortable or not comfortable. All right. So a lot of it is how's your wrist shape? You know, what's going to work for your wrist size, and how that watch is sized to your wrist. Because you can have a watch that has an extremely comfortable bracelet, but if it's not sized properly or you're wearing it in a way that it, you know, like if it's too loose or even too tight, it's not going to be comfortable regardless of how comfortable the bracelet actually is. So, but there's also other factors too. So let's take the GMT 40 millimeter, all right, and it's obviously on the Jubilee bracelet. Now this watch is also heavier, okay, so the weight of the watch as opposed to just the bracelet. There's more factors than to just what is more comfortable as far as the bracelet goes. For instance, this Jubilee on the GMT is extremely comfortable. It fits perfectly. It's sized perfectly. It's just everything about it. Now I have a Submariner. The Submariner is comfortable as well, you know, but I find that and say a similar weight. They're bigger watches, both of them. The sub is 41 millimeter, but this is a 40 millimeter. But you're talking about, you know, a little bit bulkier and a little bit heavier. And the way the bracelets are sized, to me, you know, they both are very comfortable. The Jubilee happens to be more comfortable. So that's another thing. So let's go to the next watch, right? And I'm going to go with another Jubilee. So we have here my Wimbledon dial, Datejust 36. It's a 2024 model, sized perfectly, and it's extremely comfortable. You know, so it's, you know, again, like I say, in order to compare the two, you got to have 2 similar watches that are of similar weight and that are sized pretty much exactly the same to do a real proper comparison, so to speak. So this Jubilee is extremely comfortable. Okay, again, it's more comfortable than the GMT in a sense because the GMT is a heavier watch, so I'm constantly dealing with more weight on my wrist than with the Datejust. So, but still very comfortable, and the whole point of having an extremely comfortable bracelet is so you're not constantly fidgeting with it, and it's not constantly grabbing your attention. You want to be able to wear the watch comfortably throughout the day. Now, the Jubilee bracelet is a 5-piece link, whereas the Oyster is 3. Some people say the Jubilee is more comfortable because there's more air that can get in and it's more comfortable on your wrist. I don't, you know, that doesn't really play weight with me, so to speak. But again, it also depends on your wrist, your size of your wrist. Is your arm real hairy and do you sweat more? You know what I mean? So, but then we go to the Oyster, On the OP36, similar watch as far as, 36 millimeter, similar weight, and the bracelets are sized and the watches are sized almost exactly the same. Now, this watch, and I've stated this before, is the most comfortable watch I own, and as far as a bracelet watch, and it is. It feels good. It doesn't, I don't know, it just fits perfectly, and I don't notice it. Well, I notice the watch because I always look at it, but it doesn't. No, it just, I think it's extremely comfortable. Now, out of the two, or say three, I'm going to say the Oyster is a more comfortable bracelet. But we're also talking about modern Rolex. So let's go to vintage, and I will explain something. Now we have a 36 millimeter Jubilee. It's a 29-year-old watch. But the difference is, on this, the links are hollow, so the bracelet's more jangly and it's lighter. It's really light. So, in a sense, this is actually more comfortable than my Oyster bracelet. I mean, you don't even know that you're wearing this watch, apart from when you hear it jangle, but it's super comfortable and it's light. And the other bracelets are heavier, of course, because they're solid links. My AD, my rep at my AD, doesn't like the Jubilee bracelets at all. And then when I went in there and he tried this on, he goes, "Oh my gosh, I could actually wear this. I really like it." So the Jubilee to him was more comfortable because of the hollow links, as opposed to the Oyster. You know what I mean? So what it comes down to, when you decide what you want to decide, or if you want to get a Jubilee, I think if anyone just says specifically that one's more comfortable than the other, either they don't have both of them, or maybe they do, or it's not sized the way it is, or the one watch is bigger than the other. There's different variants about it. So you have to make that decision yourself on a 36 millimeter Datejust, or OP. I mean, obviously the Oyster is going to be on the OP, but on the Datejust you have a choice between the Oyster and the Jubilee. And I just happen to prefer the Jubilee on the Datejust. But as far as an everyday sort of more comfortable bracelet for me, it's the Oyster bracelet. So I just wanted to do a fairly short video on that, and just kind of let you guys know. They're so close. They're both so comfortable. You know what I mean? So, really when it comes down to it, if you're going to pick a watch just for the comfort aspect of it, it's really hard to tell, because you can't go to an AD and put on the watch and go, "I think this bracelet's more comfortable," because that bracelet hasn't been sized to you yet. The only time that bracelet's going to be sized to you is once they sell you the watch, once you pay for it, and then they have to size it. Unless straight out the bat that watch fits you perfectly, then you can tell. But in my case, I think the OP on the Oyster bracelet is more comfortable than the Jubilee. They're both good though. So it's really hard. It's such a fine line. But I hope this video, I hope you like it. Like, subscribe. I appreciate it, you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.